Well, at the Natural History Museum, we've been installing, we're almost finished now, a very big energy submetering project and a monitoring and targeting system to go along with that. So we've established the baseline of energy consumption, who uses how much and where and for what, and now we can go about the business of finding out, you start with the low-hanging fruits. Why is a particular building consuming so much electricity at 3 in the morning when it's completely unoccupied? We couldn't have done that before we installed the submeters. That's a collaborative project with the other museums on Exhibition Road. So we have a joint budget to install all these meters, and they all tap in to one central server that collates all the numbers and analyzes them and sends reports out to relevant members of staff who can then go and reduce energy consumption through it's mostly quite simple stuff like figuring out who keeps leaving their lights on day after day after day, but also helps you highlight much more complicated stuff like pumps and drives and motors and plant rooms that are operating longer than they should be and therefore consuming more carbon than they should. Yes, there's a lot of competition amongst the museums on Exhibition Road to see who can reduce their footprint the fastest and in the most kind of extravagant way, and engaging with the members of staff and also via exhibitions trying to reach out to the public. To me, that's one of the places where the museum sector can really have a lot of impact, bang for buck wise, on climate change, because you can spend a lot of money in a plant room getting a few percentage efficiency gains here and there, which is obviously worthwhile. You can spend a similar amount of money on an exhibition that educates hundreds of thousands of people from around the world about climate change and how they can have an impact on reducing their own emissions. And so, your sphere of influence in a place like a museum is global, and you have that global outreach. So if you can convince 10% of your visitors to go home and turn their thermostat down, change a light bulb, globally speaking, you've made a bigger impact than spending millions of pounds in a plant room that no one can even see or ever knew existed, by upgrading pumps, drives, motors, etc. There's a lot of obviously there's a lot of regulation around these days with carbon. We have display energy certificates for the kind of public-facing side of letting people know what the building they're walking into is consuming and whether or not it's performing better or worse than last year. We have to report all kinds of metrics to the Department for Culture, Media and Sport. A lot of that these days is around energy consumption, carbon emissions. Very soon, I believe we'll have to start reporting staff business travel on aviation to central government, so that central government can go about the business of offsetting that carbon. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know, but reporting to government is a big part of it, and at the moment we're able to report and prove, because of the submeters, that energy consumption has been going down. But the unfortunate thing at the moment is that although energy consumption is going down, the energy bills are still going up because of the cost of utilities in the first place. So it used to be that you could look at your bill year after year after year and just look at the pounds and pence and see that yes, the energy is going down or energy is going up. But now that's not the case. Even though your kilowatt hours are dropping, your pounds and pence are still going up. So that kind of spurs on other forms of carbon management, like combined heat and power installation at the Natural History Museum. So we have a 1.8 megawatt combined heat and power plant with absorption chillers, so it's tri-generation. About I hesitate to actually give a percentage reduction there, because off the top of my head it wouldn't be very accurate, but it's made a huge dent in energy bills and carbon emissions, and that's just the beginning. Like I said, that system will eventually tap into this concept of storing waste heat in the water under our feet, which retains the heat. You can then extract it again when you actually need it. So again, exactly the kind of thing the Victorians would be doing if they were still around, and for whatever reason the vision has just faded away over the years, but it's coming back now. One amazing thing to me is we mentioned these display energy certificates. These relatively ancient museums in South Kensington have performed better. They got better energy ratings than buildings that were commissioned in 2002. Some of those are public sector buildings, others are government buildings that got Fs. NHM got an E, the Victoria and Albert Museum got a D. It just goes to show you they don't build them like they used to. Even a modern, sustainable building gets lower display energy certificate ratings than something the Victorians built, which is partly because of the way they built them, the thermal mass of the buildings, and they had natural ventilation back in the day. They had a form of district heating. All those things just faded away, but now they're becoming fashionable again. So, we're looking at reinstating potentially some of the old infrastructure that the Victorians built that's now redundant, but so doing feasibility studies to see if that can be brought back to life. Well, the Low Carbon Innovation Forum has been beneficial to the Natural History Museum because I personally have made quite a few good contacts from directly as a result of attending this forum. First time I came was last year. We're implementing one or two projects that will save energy and carbon, and I wouldn't have made the contacts to be able to initiate those projects if I didn't meet those individuals here at this forum last year. And I'm amazed, to be honest, that it's free, which is one of, not many good things in life are free anymore, but the benefit is for not just me, but thousands of visitors that come to the museums every month, the thousands members of staff there who take a personal interest in reducing their carbon emissions, not just for their employer, but in their daily lives at home as well. So you meet the whole range of people at a forum like this who can help you both professionally and personally in every aspect of carbon management, not just nuts and bolts, back of house plant room engineering, but behavioural change is a big one too, something I get quite heavily involved in.